Subscribe to my channel Report Stock.
Welcome to our deep dive today. We're looking into InSuites Hospitality Trust, IHT. Our mission really is to unpack how this company is, well, not just surviving, but thriving by mixing a strong core business with a pretty interesting strategic diversification. We're using their latest reports as our guide here.
Exactly. We'll explore their hotel operations, which are remarkably steady, but also get into their more ambitious plays. Things like, independent hotel services and even clean energy. We want to understand the thinking behind it, the what and the why.
Okay, great. So let's start with that foundation, the core hotel business. What are the recent numbers telling us? The reports show over $4 million in hotel revenue for the first half of fiscal 26. So that's Feb 1 to July 31, 2025. Total revenue was just over $4 million. And then August 2025, it seems, set a record for them, $547,571, pushing the 7-month total to over $4.5 million. That seems noteworthy, especially when you hear the general travel market is kind of flat. How are they managing that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's not just the number. It's hitting that number when the wider industry isn't really growing much. It suggests they're doing something right operationally, maybe outperforming competitors, or, they found a particularly strong niche, or maybe both. And it ties into their longer-term performance. They've actually been profitable in 3 of the last 4 fiscal years.
Even after non-cash expenses.
Right, even after things like depreciation are factored in, which, suggests their cash profitability is likely even better. And think about this, a 55-year uninterrupted streak of paying annual dividends. They just paid one in February and another in August 2025.
Wow. 55 years.
Yeah, that's not just history. It signals real financial discipline and a resilient business model that works across different economic conditions. It's pretty impressive value creation over time.
Okay, so the core is definitely solid. But like you said, they're not just sitting on that. Let's talk diversification. First up, the Independent Boutique Collection, IBC Hotels. Why did IHT get into that space back in 2014? What was the idea?
Well, that's where you see the strategic vision. IHT spotted this pretty significant gap. The independent hotel sector is huge, like half the world's hotels, but underserved. They wanted to offer services usually only big chains get. Now, they did sell it back in 2018, and then COVID kind of put things on hold for IBC.
Right.
But, and this is key, IBC was bought back on March 5th, 2025 by an entity called REF, which is owned by IHT's chairman and his family.
Interesting. So keeping it close.
Very close. And then just 2 days later, IHT's own management subsidiary, RRF LLP, that's a specific legal structure, a limited liability limited partnership, was hired to manage IBC's relaunch. And RRF LLP has a 5-year option to buy IBC back at cost. That whole setup screams belief in the potential there. They clearly think the independent market is coming back strong.
Like, that signals real commitment. Okay, yeah. So that's one big move. But they didn't stop there, did they? Clean energy. Tell us about Unigen Power.
Yeah, that's the other, maybe more surprising, diversification. Since late 2019, IHT has been investing in Unigen Power. They're developing some patented, efficient, clean energy technology. And the timing. Well, think about electricity demand.
Data centers, EVs, AI.
Exactly. Projections are for demand to potentially double in 5 years. So the market opportunity is potentially massive. IHT holds convertible bonds and warrants. Basically, financial tools that give them the option to turn that investment into equity, into ownership.
So they could end up owning a decent chunk?
Potentially, yes. Maybe 15, 20% or even more down the line. Now, obviously, it's a high-risk, high-potential kind of investment. It's not hotels. But IHT management seems confident. They point to their existing real estate, which they feel is undervalued on the books, plus the profit potential from revitalizing IBC and this Unigen clean energy play.
So putting it all together, what's the key takeaway for you, our listener? IHT seems like a fascinating example, really. Blending that traditional, reliable hospitality strength with these calculated, maybe higher risk, but potentially high reward, moves into new areas. It feels very strategic.
It does, and it raises a really interesting question for you to think about. How can companies effectively juggle these different types of ventures? The stable, mature businesses alongside the innovative, high growth, but definitely riskier ones. What parts of IHT's strategy, from those steady dividends to this leap into clean energy, really stand out to you as a potential model for building long-term strength and growth? Something to consider.
Subscribe to my channel Report Stock.